It's never easy to say goodbye, even if the thing you're saying goodbye to is a piece of military equipment. It's been around 1 week since the 1st Infantry Division's Kiowa Warriors executed their final flight at Fort Riley, an event where a 25 aircraft formation took the sky during the division's annual victory run. The purpose of the flight was to send out the airframe in style, after the Army announced it would be replacing the Kiowas with the AH-64 Apache.
Being up there as part of a flight of 25 aircraft, with every single person all focused on a task at hand and making sure that they did everything they could to ensure that it was successful. That's really special. The opportunities to be a part of something like that is really pretty exceptional.
If Beyer seems nostalgic about the experience, it's for good reason. Like many of the pilots involved in last week's flight, he spent the majority of his military career training on the Kiowas, meaning the final flight was an emotional goodbye, as the Army parted with over 3 decades of aerial history, and the soldiers parted with something that had become much more than just an airframe.
Yeah, I've been flying this since 1999. So for me, in my Army career, this is the machine that gets me to the battlefield, and this is the machine that I've come to know and love and trust. As much as there's sadness about the aircraft going away, while we acknowledge that, this is a transition.
And a transition that Beyer is confident will go smoothly, whether the pilots are switching over to Apaches or to another military job entirely.
There's just a different mentality within the Cav, and I think that's why last week went off as well as it did. We've already had a lot of transition in our unit for people over the last couple of months. That'll continue, but there's just something that makes being in the Cav different than what I've experienced in other units, and I think it's something that makes us a special organization.
It's difficult to portray more than 3 decades of service in a single frame. One image to define countless hours of soldiers' lives and at the same time signify a transition. But just because it's difficult doesn't mean it's not worth trying. And that's exactly what the 1st Squadron, 6th Cavalry Regiment did on June 23rd, partnering with the Commanding General's Mounted Color Guard to take a historical photograph memorializing the Kiowa Warrior helicopter, now that the airframe is being phased out in favor of the AH-64 Apache.
Pretty soon they're going to be gone. All the pilots will be gone, all the aircraft will be gone, and it will be no more. So it's only going to be a memory, or in the history books or in the museums, that people are even able to see this airframe and know the role it played. The pictures that we took today were not significant just for this unit, but for all cavalry units that are divesting their Kiowa Warriors.
The United States Army, especially the cavalry, is always in a state of transition, whether soldiers are moving from riding horseback to driving tanks or flying helicopters. And that history is something that Staff Sergeant Cody Beyer is familiar with, as most of his time is spent on one of the Army's oldest sources of transportation, a role that made him more than happy to assist with the squadron's photograph.
The Kiowas leaving over their last flight, to me, they've supported me in many operations while I was deployed, so it was very cool to be able to partner with them. To be running full speed on a horse, carrying the American flag with the Kiowas flying over was probably an opportunity of a lifetime. There's not very many people out there that can say they actually got to do that.
And while switching from one helicopter to the other may seem trivial to some people, most of the pilots assigned to the Kiowas have spent their entire military career flying them, some more than 20 years, a valid reason for wanting a significant photograph to remember their time in the sky.
I hate to see them go, but the cavalry soldier will live on, and we will continue to do our recon mission, we will continue to do our TAC mission, and we will continue in the cavalry spirit to support the guy on the ground. The significance of the pictures is just to show another transition. I mean, it's a change, and we're going to embrace that change, and we're going to drive on with what's expected and what we need to do.